Hi everyone, Jason here from MasterbIT. This week I'm going to do a little bit of a walkthrough of installing macOS on legacy PC hardware. I've got it running nice on my desktop, on my laptop, but they're i7s. So for this one I'm actually working on Core 2 Duo systems. So let's get into it. Now there's two systems today, both Core 2 Duos. This one's an E4400, which is only 2 GHz with 2 gigs of RAM, as you can see on the Mac information screen. The second one is a little bit newer. It's a E7600 CPU with 4 gigs of RAM, and that allowed it to run the latest version of macOS 10.13.6. Okay, so when I came to do this tutorial, I was going to do step by step, screen by screen, but unfortunately it took me hours to get things going. So instead of step by step, I'm just going to tell you what I did different to the guides that are on Tony Mac and other sites. Okay, so when I got down to doing the actual install, there was a few things that were not working out of the box. For one, on the 2 GHz system, it wouldn't boot from a GPT USB or a GPT formatted USB stick. So the only way I could overcome this was a thing called Clover CD. So you download the ISO, burn it to a disk, it boots from the CD into Clover, and then from Clover I booted the USB stick. So that fixed that problem. But I was working on it with a HD, or not HD, sorry, X1030, 30 or 50 graphics card from ATI, very old. Just wouldn't work. So I had to go out and buy a NVIDIA GT710, which is like the entry level graphics card from NVIDIA, $35, and that fixed the video problem. So I was able to boot and I had video. My Mac SM BIOS, I chose a Mac 8.1, iMac 8.1, so 2008 Model 1, and that allowed me to install only up to El Capitan, because the E2200 or E4400 CPU doesn't have the right extensions for anything past El Capitan. So apart from those two issues, everything else was by the book. You just follow the instructions on Tony Mac website. For the second system, this one booted from GPT perfectly, so I didn't have to do the kerfuffle with the CD-ROM, but it had an Ethernet and sound card that weren't really supported out of the box. So it took a little bit of digging, but I found an Atheros capable Kext for the network connection, and then with Voodoo HDA for the audio, and that included the same video problem I had with the initial system. So now I've got two GT710s, one for each machine, but works out really well because NVIDIA has really good drivers. So I kind of did this as a FU to Apple because they wouldn't give me a job, and so for one of the PCs I got for nothing, the other one I picked up for $60 when I was buying it, and it was in an HTTP case. So I mean, I spent very little money. I had to get a power supply, a couple of video cards, a CD-ROM. That's all I had to spend, and I've got two Hackintosh computers for less than $100. But if you are interested in buying one of these systems, the 2 gigahertz and 2 gigabytes model I've got on Gumtree for $100, and the 3 gigahertz 4 gigabytes I've got for $120 because it runs the latest version of macOS. So in closing, it's getting easier and easier to install macOS on non-Mac hardware because of the work of Tony Mac, Rehab Man, people like this. They're making it very, very streamlined. And you can even do it on old hardware. And because macOS is well written, doesn't have all the bloating that Windows does, you can get a pretty good experience with 2 gigahertz dual core and 2 gigabytes of RAM. So it was fun, it's functional, and I think anyone could do it if you put your mind to it. So have fun, everyone.